Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. You're in the know with Esther and Larry. Art on the air today. Stay in the know with Larry and Esther. Art on the air our way. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself.
And welcome. You're listening to Art on the Air on WVLP 103.1 FM and on Lakeshore Public Radio 89.1 FM. This is our weekly programming covering arts and arts events in Valparaiso and throughout Northwest Indiana. I'm Larry Brechner of New Perspectives Photography, and today, not alongside, because she's home ill, is our wonderful Ester Golden of the Nest in Michigan City. And so for Esther, I'll say aloha, everyone. We're your hosts for Art on the Air, and we hope to have her back on the air very soon. That theme music you heard is by Billy Foster with a vocal by the wonderful Renee Foster, and we thank them so much. Our underwriters for Art on the Air are Valparaiso University's Brower Museum, regional art patron Mary Levan, and our landlord, Walt Breidinger of Paragon Investments. You'd like to find out more about leasing space in this historic building right along 130 in Valpo, give Walt a call at 219-462-5821. Thank you for your generous support. Always a shout out to Greg Kovach, WVLP's station manager, for getting us on the air. On the air supported by an Indiana Arts Commission Arts Project Grant through South Shore Arts and the National Endowment for the Arts. If you're interested in being a guest or send us information about your arts-related event, please email us artontheair@wvlp@gmail.com. That's artontheair, wvlp@gmail.com. Our programs, along with all programs, are streaming live at wvlp.org. Art on the Air is rebroadcast Mondays at 5 p.m. You can hear our entire show archive at brech.com/AOTA. That's Brech, BRECH.com/AOTA. Along there, you'll see our detailed arts calendar there. Our shows are also carried on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM, and streaming at their website, Sundays at 7 p.m. And we're also on WIUN Red Hawk Radio, IU Northwest Closed Circuit radio station. We encourage you to like us on Facebook to find out what's going on. And, we're going to go straight to the calendar, and I'll come back later to support. In Porter County, we have Valparaiso Center for Arts, Brower Museum. They continue with the Brown County and Beyond exhibit. Also, they have Spectral Speculations of Japanese Prints, Unfinished with Mary Bork, and Latiro Capelli. All those are at the Brower Museum. You can also see all that things there. It'll be a wonderful exhibit. Village Gallery in Valparaiso. Susie Vance continues through this weekend with a fiber artist who paints, so you can see her non-traditional materials in art. That's going to be through the middle of March. Chesterton Art Center. Well, they are taking applications for the Chesterton Art Fair. Yes, it's happening. However, just decided is the gala that's scheduled for early May is going to be postponed. So that was a decision that just occurred actually a half hour ago and notified us with all the things going on. And we would encourage you, by the way, to contact any venues, exhibits, or things like that about what they're going to do about the virus issue going on. There's a lot of places closing, but please continue to check with them about what's the availability for that. However, they still plan to do the Membership Madness on Saturday, March 14th, 10 to 2 p.m. at Chesterton Arts Center. They will have their Duneland Schools Arts exhibit. Now, the exhibit is scheduled. The opening reception is scheduled, however, on March 18th. However, check on that because with the situation as it is, may not happen, but the exhibit is going up. They're continuing with Monday night ceramics, stained glass, and they may or may not be doing the Monday or the Wednesday critique night. So again, call Chesterton Arts Center and any of these venues to find out what's going on. Duneland Photography Club, their exhibit continues through this weekend. So through March 14th, you can see Anticipating Spring. That's at the Art Barn. And they also will have a call for art. If you go to their website for their juried show, information is there going on. The Ellen Firm Gallery continues with Matt Kubik in the Garden of the Gargoyles, his medieval Renaissance figures and monsters. That's going. It's opening on Friday, March 13th at 5 to 8 p.m. So that opens tonight if you're listening to us live, and that's on US 12 in Beverly Shores. Kevin Firm still has his exhibit at the Catholic Theological Union in Chicago, and that'll be continuing through May 25th. Depot Museum and Art Gallery. Well, they're getting prepared for their 5x5 Depot exhibit on May 8th. If you're an artist, you can pick up at the firm on US 12, the gallery and or service area in the Leo firm will get you a canvas or a frame, so you can do that, but you just need to get in. So if you're an artist, that'll be coming up very soon. Memorial Opera House, well, they are doing March 14th, 7:30, Heartache Tonight. Again, double check on that to make sure everything's still going. We don't have a notice of cancellation with them, but go ahead and check. Chicago City Theater is still running Black Comedy. It opened on March 6th, going through March 21st. Check with them, see what they're doing. And 4th Street Theater, well, we'll talk about them in a little bit, but they have a show opening right now on March 13th, which is Friday the 13th, by the way, for everyone, called Art, and we'll be talking about that later in our show. But also on March 14th, they have Yuck of the Irish, their improv group with Make Shift Up. I always say that nice and slow there. And that's their improv comedy group, so that's what they're going. So that's what's going on in Porter County. We'll move on to Lake County, and then we'll get LaPorte County, because Esther usually does LaPorte County. I have to pull that up on my screen here. Studio 659, they'll have this portraits. Their exhibit opens on March 20th, 7 to 9 p.m. So if it's just going up now, so you can see that. That's in Whiting on 119th Street. South Shore Arts, the Bachman Gallery continues with the Maurice Sendak Memorial Exhibition that goes through April 12th. Atrium Gallery, Earth Forms, that's closing fairly soon, but now replace the Atrium Gallery on March 15th will be Quietude, recent works by Laura Cutler. So there's a reception on March 15th, is a Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. Crown Point Branch, they're still doing Winter in the Dunes. That's going on. Substation number 9, Julia Guevara. Toll Theater, Gym Synergy, it's a real thing. And Cafe Fresco, Stark Minus Digital Paintings. You can find all the information on the South Shore Arts website. Miller Beach Arts Creative District, they have a huge number of things going on all the time. Go see the link there. South Lake Artists Cooperative, otherwise known as SLAC. And they have a call for art cause B, that's B-E-E, Cause We Care, B-themed, and their call for art ends on March 15th. They'll be at an exhibit at the Paul Henry Gallery. They continue their coffee exhibit at the Sip Coffee House in Crown Point, and Crackle at Sip Coffee House number 2 in Highland. Paul Henry Gallery, well, currently they have the closing reception. They had Carol Estes, More Shades of She, that opens on March 21st is her exhibit through April 26th. So they'll have that. Interwoven Stories had just closed there, so she replaced that. Now, the Dave group used to be called Dyer Art Visionaries, now can call themselves Diversified Arts Visionaries. Information is only on their Facebook page, so look for Dave or Diversified Arts Visionaries. Theater of the Center, well, they just finished... they'll be finishing Almost Heaven through March 22nd about John Denver, so that'll be great going on there, so you can still catch that show if you haven't done so far. Promise You Outhouse continues with Nostalgia, opened on February 1st. It's on Highland, right there on Kennedy Avenue. And Lakeshore Community Concerts, well, as far as we know, they're still going on, but their next concert is coming up May 6th. It's Taiji, and she's there for one concert. That's the closing concert of their season. Again, before you go, check with Munster Auditorium at the Munster High School or with South Shore to make sure the event is still going on. And the Purdue University Northwest, we're going to have them on in a couple of weeks. They have a bill coming up in April. Several shows by Gilbert Sullivan called The Devil, also with Devil and Daniel Webster, Order in the Court. They're going to be doing a combination show, and we'll have the directors on coming on sometime in the future. So that's what we have in Lake County. We'll move to LaPorte County. Esther's not here, so I'm going to pull it up and save for her. So in LaPorte County, Thaddeus C. Gallery, located in there. They're going open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can see what's going on. The Port Symphony Orchestra, well, they're doing their wonderful concert. They're now in their 47th season. In the Cornerstone, they'll be doing, with guest conductor Wilbur Lynn, we had them on last week, celebrating Beethoven's 250th birthday. They'll be doing Symphony No. 7, not often heard, a different kind of mid-Beethoven thing. Everyone's familiar with Symphony No. 5, but Symphony No. 7, a little different. They will have that. April 25th, they have a guest conductor, Dr. Christopher Fahn, and they'll be doing a Great American Songbook concert. They also have Hoosier Star audition information. Go to their website, either for the LCSO.org, or you can go directly to Hoosier Star. The information has to be submitted by March 21st, 22nd, and you can find out information about all the guidelines you need to do, like photos and everything like that. The Vesnick Center for the Arts, they're opening March 6th, or open March 6th, Round Hole Square Peg, and That's their new exhibit in the main gallery there. You can see all the great things. Plus, they have many things going on. Student area art exhibit at the NIPSCO Art Education Studios. See all the information there. The student reception was March 11th. Rising Phoenix Gallery has many things. Contact them and you can find out what's going on. But they'll be March 6th through the 30th. Cycles will be on exhibit. And it'll be personal concepts of pattern and repetition. April 3rd, Michigan City Art League will be on exhibit. And After Gypsies Are Gone, May 1st through 31st. Planting Seeds of Possibility, that'll be worked by Susie Vance, and many more going on there into and through the summer. SFC, well, if you're an artist, there's not really exhibits, but they have an artist reception on Friday, March 13th this evening. So you can pop in there and be appreciated from 5 to 8 p.m. The wonderful SFC Gallery. We've had Ryan on the show and Christina, and they do a great job for supporting artists. So it's a night to just thank everyone. Blink Contemporary Art, they're on hiatus right now. They are there, but they'll be having new work coming on very, very soon. Well, The Nest. Well, here's Ester's thing. Current exhibit is still Robert Circo, Me, Myself, and Eyes, and his recent paintings and drawings still on exhibit. And the Comic and Drawing Club. The club is in the process of picking a new date and time, so stay tuned for that. It's for ages 12 and up. Great time for that. First Friday Drum Circle always, so listen for that. That was March 6th, so first Friday. And again, if there's any changes in what they're going to do with events, please contact each thing. Also, Every Kind of Talent Show with Captain Ambivalent. Well, the March 21st has been canceled just because we're over-airing cautioning, so we want to make sure that everything's going on. Brain Support Group, March 18th, 15th, April 15th, and May 20th. They're there, so they'll be every third Wednesday of the month, so that'll be helpful for that. The March is International Women's Day celebrations on Sunday, or let's see, March 15th has been canceled. We'll stay tuned to see if the March 22nd date was going on and March 29th. And also the storytelling workshop on March 14th has been canceled also. So far, March 28th, the Art and Horse Assisted Healing is going on, and that's supposed to be March 28th at 10 to 4 p.m. Again, it's on our website to see the link there. You can see the whole agenda on our website. You can find out all the details on the Michigan City Facebook page and everything. So where's your event? Well, it wasn't on there, so everything, you can just become part of our Art on the Air and everything to have your event on there. Go to artontheairwvlp@gmail.com. That's artontheairwvlp@gmail.com. Hey, first of all, before we get to our guest, we have lots of supporters that come here, and it's so easy to support our station, wvlp.org/support. You can become an underwriter or show like the ones we already have. We encourage you to do that. Starting after today, we're going to be installing a whole bunch of new equipment here at WVLP that will really up our game, allow us to take phone calls, and we do that through the support of not only the people that work at the station, but also your support. If you're interested in doing that, please go to wvlp.org/support. We don't want you to just be a listener. We want you to be an underwriter or supporter of the station. Be a patron like Mary Levan did, our local art patron. And like I say every week, and Esther, you can laugh at this at home, don't give till it hurts. Give till it feels good. And you'll join the WVLP family supporting whatever you do. By the way, one other announcement, too, is WVLP's own Stars Over Valpo. Well, that was scheduled for March 29th. Out of an abundance of caution, we are postponing that event. We're going to reschedule it after we get through this virus thing going on. We just want to have an abundance of caution. So we will have a new schedule for that going on right away. So now we'll move on to our guest. And the first thing we want to do is play an interview that we have with the people here. It's an interview that I have with some of the people, and then we're going to get to our live guest here. So,
Stanley Hodgson.
And you're what?
I am the director currently of the show Art, playing at 4th Street Theater in Chesterton.
And what days is it playing?
We open tomorrow night, on Friday the 13th, the 14th, and then 2 weekends after that.
Okay. Did you pick the show?
It's a show that I saw when I was working for Hard Rock in about 2007. I saw Equity Production in Myrtle Beach, and I fell in love with the show, and I have wanted to direct it ever since.
Tell us a little bit about the synopsis of the show.
Well, I've always been an artist and into theater and painting, drawing, all that kind of stuff, and I'm a costume designer and all that kind of stuff, so I've always loved art. And I've always loved the fact that two people can look at the same painting and feel very, very differently.
And it's about a painting that is nothing but a blank canvas, right?
It's white.
And so how does that motivate?
If you hear the character Serge, he will tell you that it's not white. And there is the nub of the problem.
Okay, and this is only a 3-character show, so is that easier to... How many shows have you directed, I guess, first of all?
Well, I've directed several shows, from big musicals to smaller shows, and I'm not musically inclined, so I always have to have help with that, but smaller shows are my forte, and I was very, very fortunate to get 3 incredible, fantastic guys to do this show.
And they are?
Grant Fitch, Alexander Bonner, and Dean Perrine.
And we're having Alex on later in the show. We've had Grant on the show before during the holiday season to talk about the things he does. So how long have you been in rehearsal?
We started very briefly with once a week in January, and then we went to 3 times a week in February, and then we beefed it up for 4 nights a week for the last couple weeks.
And we're in Tech Week, so you open tomorrow, according to this, so Tech Week is fun.
Oh, this has been a breeze. This show has probably gone together smoother than any show I've ever done in my entire life. These guys are great. I have to hand it to them. They make a mistake. They know what they've what they did wrong, and they fix it. I just have to sit and enjoy them every night.
So you don't have to get the water gun and squirt at them?
No, we just keep their booze bottles filled. It's really raspberry tea.
Well, that's good. And so tell us a little bit more about the show, like in depth.
Basically, these 3 guys, they're from 3 very, very distinctly different careers. And they've been best friends for 15 years. And the one goes out on a limb and spends an exorbitant amount of money on a painting. And his 2 friends both have very, very different opinions of this painting.
And that's part of the whole show.
And there you go. And that's where the fun ensues. It's very deep, and it's very moving, and yet it's funny. You'll laugh, and it's sincere. It just takes you all over.
So it's kind of like would you say, a darker comedy? Or is it kind of a frivolous comedy?
No, it's not even really dark. It's just... It's almost like you've been friends with these guys for 15 years and you've been holding back something you've wanted to say for 15 years and you finally let it out and you go, oh, no.
And there it is.
Exactly.
Okay. And you have a very intimate space here at 4th Street. You've done a lot of different shows. How many shows have you done actually here?
Directed?
Right.
This is only my 2nd show directing here, but I've been costuming here for many, many years, ever since Portage Community Theater closed. That I do the costumes here for almost every show. Okay,
excellent. And this theater is known for doing a lot of intimate things. I know my daughter actually played Pitts for one of the shows here. So tell us a little bit about the seasons in general.
Oh, gosh. We do such an array of different things. And you know what? I've always said we have an incredibly talented team of people. And they all are gifted in different areas. And so we're able to bring you a vast array of deep, fun, frivolous music, all over the place. And we try to do that when we're choosing.
Do you have any aspirations for the future things to direct?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about... I do. There's one show I would like to direct. It's called A Dog Sees God. And it's very weird. I've got to really reread the script. I saw that once too, but I absolutely loved it, but I hear it's kind of weird. But I'm old. I forgot, maybe.
You're not
loved it, but we'll see. I don't know. A show I would really love to costume here is Pippin.
Well, everyone loves it. I've done Pippin. I've directed Pippin like 4 times.
I love Pippin. It's one of my favorites. With Ben Vereen and William Katz, when I saw that original, oh my God, that was great.
I was disappointed the last time I directed it. They changed the script, and and they moved things around a little bit. So I kind of told MTI, well, I'm going to do the original script because there's things in it that they cut it up. They did the same thing with Working a few years ago, and I was not happy about that. So
the original would be.
Yes, it is. So, well, coming up, you have, Closer Than Ever, and that's in June and July.
Yes. I know nothing about it.
Okay.
So I'm interested. I will be costuming it, and I'm very excited to learn about it.
Okay. It looks like it's a musical coming up. And then we have, in next November, November, you have The Importance of Being Earnest.
And I am so excited because it's lots of big hats.
It's a very interesting costume show, a real costume show.
Yes, and that's my forte. I really, that's my passion.
Okay. So how did you get hooked into directing here?
Well, it's really funny. Years ago, I was a costume shop manager at the Theater at the Center in Munster.
Okay.
And
I worked there also.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there from 92 to 98 until the school system hired me for a lot more money.
Okay. Well, we did a little show called Over the River and Through the Woods over there.
Okay.
And it was, I never saw it, but I was backstage with the actors for 3 months during the run. And I listened to that show, and it was just the most fantastic show. It was just absolutely incredible. And I saw a little ad, it was in the paper somewhere, and they said 4th Street Theater was looking for directors. And so I applied, and I said I would love to direct Over the River and Through the Woods.
Excellent.
And they had me do it, and it was probably it was a fantastic show. It was just great.
I see you're coming, and you're not probably directly involved. It's the 7th annual 10-minute play festival, and I know that they're
Linda. She's back there. She does that, and it's marvelous.
well. When we will have a moment here to talk to Linda. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, my name is Linda Pauley. I'm part of 4th Street Theater, and I'm here to talk about the 10-Minute Play Festival.
And you have already selected all the plays for this season, but tell us a little bit about this. Is your 7th annual version?
7th annual version. We have gone started with 6 plays in the original year. A couple of years we had in the hundreds of plays that were submitted, which became unwieldy for us. So we stopped accepting submissions when we hit 100. So we have our 100 plays. I have 9 readers, and they will be reading the plays and culling them down, and then we'll make our final selection, and we'll select 8 plays.
And are these more like stage readings, or are you actually a fully staged production?
Oh, they fully staged them. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun, but they're only 10 minutes. So, and we expect them not to be skits. We want them to be, a beginning, a middle, and end, some development in there.
And what kind of, you want a mix of comedy and drama?
Absolutely. Last year, for the first time, we had our demographic for our plays where the characters were older than usual. Usually we have things that are for young people and younger cast members, but last year we had quite a few of them that were selected that were for our older actors, and they were thrilled.
Do you have any musical numbers in this, or is that just too complicated for this?
Yeah, we don't do any musical numbers in this. It's all 10-minute plays, which we get from all over the country and overseas.
And the selection process, who's part of that?
Well, they send in the plays, and then I have my 9 readers, and they will cull it down, and then they rate them, and then we select them from wherever they get the highest scores and what people think. So I have 9 readers this year, so I have a tiebreaker.
And how long have you been doing it?
7 years. I'm the producer.
You're the producer. It's good to be a producer.
It is good to be a producer, yes. So I'm the one who brought it here to get it started. So.
How long have you been associated with 4th Street Theater?
Oh, since my first show here was Man of La Mancha.
And you did what on that?
I was music director.
Oh, okay. So you're a musical.
I am.
Did you play piano?
Well, I was the high school choral director at Chesterton for 26 years.
Okay, so that's where I've heard your name. Excellent.
Yes.
So I was a theater director at Munster for 18 years and at Highland for 13 years.
And there you go, see?
And I did 2 musicals a year plus 2 straight plays.
Oh, bless your heart.
And then my wife directed the 2 middle school shows. And then I had 70 events in the theater. But my full-time job was auditorium director.
Yeah, well, I was the auditorium director. I had 2 competitive show choirs. I had, 2 concert choirs, taught a piano class, and, did the musical every year, and it was a lot.
Very good. Well, thank you for being on Art on the Air.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How fun.
And I'm here with Grant Fitch, who's no stranger to Art on the Air. He's been with us before talking about his things that he does with his one-man shows. But here he is in the production of Art. So what's your character in Art?
Yes, I thought I would share the stage with somebody else this time, just to be different. 3-man play, as you know. There's, I don't know if you know much about the story.
A little bit.
There's a man who buys a painting. There's a friend of his who doesn't understand why he bought the painting. And then there's me. I'm the middleman. I'm the moderator, just like in real life, actually, trying to get people to get along with each other. I don't understand either of them exactly, and I try to agree with them both individually. But then when the three of us get in the same room and the two of them are at each other's throats, they both want me to agree with them.
Right. You're doing a lot of one-man...
tricky to do.
Yeah, and doing one-man shows, doing something with other characters is kind of nice to bounce things off of.
It is, and it's actually kind of fun that there's actually one point in the show where I'm telling a story and I'm acting it out and doing voices, so it's a little bit of my storytelling thing, my usual thing. But yeah, the laughs between the three characters and the arguing between the three characters, it's really nice. There's a really nice interplay between the three of us. We are old friends playing old friends, and so it works out really well. I think there's really good energy, and we've really been enjoying the rehearsal process. There's a lot of laughs in this show, but there's some drama as well, because it really digs deep, I think, into the idea of friendship, specifically male friendship, and what it is and what's going on behind the scenes, if you will.
And I think the big joke in the show is, of course, what the painting is, which is...
The painting is a huge 4-foot by 5-foot canvas, which is white, just white. And if you kind of screw up your eyes a little bit, you can see there might be some lines in it or some slightly shading, but it's basically just a big canvas of white, which is why it's ridiculous that somebody spent more than $200,000 for it. Of course that's ridiculous, but it's a very famous painter who's going places. And,
especially on $200,000.
Well, and so... it really is kind of what is, and you and I both know about art galleries and things, what is art?
Right.
And what makes art special or unique or valuable, and all of that gets discussed as well.
Very good. And how long have you been in rehearsal?
We have been in rehearsal since January. We did a few rehearsals in January and really did a lot of rehearsals in February. So 4 to 5 weeks with a few scattered rehearsals before that. We actually got cast back in December, so we get the scripts in our hands, because there's a lot of words if you are 1/3 of a show.
Sure. Well, I remember when we had you on the show, you were that's when Art in the Air was going to be coming. You talked about that, so with the show Art. So, anything else coming up in your future?
These days I do one show a year, since I have a house full of teenagers that I have to be there to help with. So it'll be a little while before I have some storytelling things,
right?
And some of those will be coming up, but this is probably the only time I'm on stage with other people for a little while.
Right, teenagers are hard. I know that.
Yeah,
so
it's tricky.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that was Grant Fitch telling us about Art, which is coming up and opening on March 13th. And thank you for being on Art in the Air. So that was our interview on location. That was really kismet there. I was at an event in Chesterton. I kind of went down the street to 4th Street before you guys started rehearsal and thought I'd pop in and get some interviews. You are listening to Art in the Air on WVLP 103.1 FM and on Lakeshore Public Radio 89.1 FM. So our guest today, he is one of the actors in the current production of Art that's at the 4th Street Theater here, and it's a great thing going on. It's directed by Sandra Lee Hodson, produced and also Grant Fitch, and our guest here is Alex Bonner, and so he's here in the studio. So how you doing there, Alex?
Good, thank you.
So what we want to do is talk a little bit about you and your background, where you came from, where you grew up, where you went to school, and all that.
Well, I was born and raised in Michigan City. After my parents split up, I moved kind of out to the Rolling Prairie area and went to school at New Prairie High School. That's where I caught the big theater bug. I was that kind of drifter in high school, not really doing anything, and my English teacher at the time dragged me to the auditions for a couple of the shows, and that's where got the big theater bug. Continued on with school, studied in Ball State, and then eventually moved back up to the area. Found auditions at a little theater called Footlight Players in Michigan City.
And in as I understand, 4th Street's history, they're kind of a spin-off of that.
Yeah, from what I read as well. Yeah, there's, but yeah, they had like a little spin-off from that. And so, yeah, when I moved back up, it was getting back into like the community theater area, and like Footlight was it's still a great little spot to just get right back into things, and so it was very welcoming. And just recently, I've started to branch out from there. I started doing shows there in around like 2011, and I did shows constantly throughout their seasons. And just recently, I started to branch out and started to do shows at Fort Street was the first one that I kind of branched out for. I did Peter and the Starcatcher there. Then I went on to like a Gary Shakespeare company. Chicago.
What did you play at Gary Shakespeare? What production?
Macbeth. So I played, and I got cast as Macduff, which is one of my favorite Shakespearean characters. And then just recently, this past summer, is when I auditioned for Chicago Street's production, and I got Macduff again, which is fantastic for me because it's a great character that I love. And
very good. Yeah, you know the rule about not saying Macbeth inside of a theater.
Oh, right? I know, but luckily we're in a radio station.
Yeah,
so
you can say it here.
It works right now.
So, Alex, do you have anything to add to what Grant said there?
Oh no, it's pretty much just hit it right on the button. It's a very character-driven show. It's dives just headfirst into these three guys' friendships and everything coming to a head once words are said, and then battle lines are kind of drawn, and it's just, you said that, well, I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to say what I finally have been feeling for like these past years, but because you're stabbing at me, I'm going to go dig right into you. Now,
I don't know if we hit on this earlier. Where did you grow up?
Michigan City and Rolling Prairie. I kind of was bounced.
And you went to Michigan City High School?
No, I went to New Prairie High School, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I came to Michigan City on the weekends with my dad.
Okay. And did you, what did you do for college? Or
Ball State, yeah.
Okay. And what did you study?
Acting and psychology.
Okay. Well, Ball State actually has an excellent theater program. When I was recommending for students going in-state schools, I actually said Ball State's got really, truly a pre-professional program. I don't know if they have a BFA down there yet, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. Or I know their BA program was pretty close to what a BFA was. So. Mm-hmm. But and what years did you go there to?
I was there from 2009, so I'm trying to think of math in my head, which is not my strongest suit, actually.
Well, theater, the math is not it, really.
It is really not that good.
And what do you do outside of theater?
Right now, I'd run medical transportation for Aperian Care. I'm a voice actor. I do costumings for conventions and stuff like that as well.
Okay. What voice acting things have you done?
Mostly it's just for some small indie game companies. There's a couple of EA titles that I've been involved in, like the Uncharted series and stuff like that I've been involved in. And then there's a couple of, just every now and then I will get like a, hey, read this book, and just do an audio book, a couple of files. So, I just go on site into South Bend in Chicago every now and then. I'm working on, getting everything settled together. I'm going to work on getting my own studio in my own home so I can start doing more stuff.
I understand that. Well, I've got one in my home that I do. In fact, I do some voice things for both this station and things like that, and some other things. So very good. Well, your character, tell us a little bit about it. It's your character name is?
Serge.
And you're the one who buys the painting.
I do. I buy my beautiful, beautiful Antrios painting.
And so tell us a little bit about approaching Serge, who goes out and pays $200,000 for what most people would see as a white canvas.
Yes, exactly. It's obviously it's through the show you realize the character dynamics that Mark, who Dean plays, and Serge, they had this kind of relationship where Mark thought of himself like as the mentor to Serge, my character, and when I go off and start going off on my own and going away from his values and finding my own voice in my own world, that's when things start coming to a head of you're not viewing the things that I view anymore. You're starting to grant your own views, and I don't like that. And so it's really my approach was this guy who's been kind of under an influence and under someone's view, but is shying away from that, is finding his own voice. And I think really this painting is when he bought it, is when he views that this is him coming into his own, and that this is me now. You're gonna have to deal with what I am, because this is who I am. I'm spending $200,000 francs on a white canvas.
Yeah, now this show originally was a French
yes.
Yasminia Reza, I believe.
Yes.
And so this is a translation from that piece, and that's actually, it was written in the 90s?
It was written in the 90s. There's definitely some words and some phrases where you can tell this is a little dating itself, but it's still completely up to date with just relationships in general, because it's mostly, it's this huge character study.
Exactly. And the show is running March 13th. So tonight is your opening night if you're listening to us live. And that's at 8 p.m., correct?
Yes, 8 p.m., yes.
So, and you're running 13, 14, 20, 21, 22, 26, all the way 29th. And there's a special on this weekend.
Yes, it is. Their tickets are going to be $10, but they are limiting seats to about, I can't remember if it's 20 or 30 seats.
30 seats, I think I read,
yeah. Just because of the virus concerns. And that's, and there, if you like 4th Street on Facebook and everything like that, they keep the constant updates of what we're doing to maintain that nothing happens.
Exactly. And normally the costs are $20 for the show, so that's a great bargain to get out and see it, especially this weekend. So I know you brought your script along, and I realize this is a little difficult in a 3-person show to do it, but I'm going to impose upon you to go ahead and do a little excerpt from Art. And so when you're ready to go, that's Alex Bonner doing and playing Serge from the play Art.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not white. Now, when I say as far as I'm concerned, I mean objectively. Objectively speaking, it's not white. It has a white background, but with a whole range of grays. There's even some red in it. Now, you could say it's very pale. I wouldn't like it if it was white. Mark thinks it's white. That's his limit. Mark thinks it's white because he's gotten hung up on the idea that it's white. Unlike Yvonne. Yvonne can see it isn't white. Mark can think what he likes. What do I care?
Excellent. Okay. Now, describe the relationship to characters. So Grant was kind of, his character is...
Yvonne.
And he plays the mediator, kind of.
Yeah, he's kind of this guy who'll go along with anything you say. You say, hey, let's go get burgers, when he really wanted to go get chicken. But he'll be fine. He'll go out and go.
Okay.
He'll go along with what everyone says. And so when me and Mark get in the same room and we've had these small little scenes beforehand when we're both talking with Yvonne about the painting, and when he's talking with me, he agrees and he likes it.
Sure.
He can see some stuff. When he talks to Mark, he says he doesn't like it, but there's still something there, but he's still trying to play the middleman. But when all 3 of us get together in the room and kind of battle lines are drawn, he's unfortunately stuck in that middle zone of trying to please everyone in the room, but it doesn't go very well.
So Mark is really like your antagonist.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
And I'm his antagonist throughout the show as well.
And Mark is played by
Dean Perrine.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Very good. So, and you've been in rehearsal on and off since January?
Yes, yeah, we had, and then we got our scripts beforehand because it was really, it helped for sure to get off book as soon as possible, because it is each one of us is 1/3 of the script.
Right.
So it's a word-driven show.
You're pretty much all 3 of you, maybe with a few exceptions, on stage almost the entire time.
Yeah, I'm actually the only one who gets to leave the stage for just a little bit, and just go right behind my flat. But yeah, it's all 3 of us are just there the whole time. So yeah, we've been in January we had about every Monday we would rehearse together, and then February is when we went full on, going through everything. There's a couple of days we missed, unfortunately, because of weather, but that happens when you're doing winter rehearsals.
Very good. Now, what shows do you have lined up for you? Have you looked ahead for anything you're going to be in?
There's one. There's my bucket list of a Shakespeare show has always been A Midsummer Night's Dream, and luckily Gary Shakespeare Company is doing that. And it's just anytime that I had the chance to be involved in that show, is either I was leaving the area, or as soon as I would come, they had already done the show. So,
and what character you like in that?
I love Robin Goodfellow, Puck,
Yeah.
Oberon, and Nick Bottom, of course, is just the fun character
So
to
you'd be
play.
happy doing any of those.
Anything would be. But yeah, I would love to be involved in that show. And other than that, I am. This is This show is, I think it's either the 5th or the 6th in a row. So as well as that, as I'm definitely looking forward to taking just a small little couple breaks.
Hiatus, yes. Well, that's true.
So hopefully after Midsummer, that's the hope of nothing else comes up of like, oh, that's the show that I really want to do. Please no.
Do you do any musical theater? Or?
I do. I mostly I went for acting, and even when I started like in high school and stuff, like the musicals weren't really what interests me. It was plays. And so everything that I've learned as far as musical wise is kind of just going from each show, and I've gotten better and better, but it's, it's still, I know LaPorte Little Theater has a couple musical, or they have one musical coming up, which Hunchback, which would be one that I would want to do. But I'm usually inclined to always go for a play before a musical for me, because as far as singing I can do, but dancing, it's I got the two left feet of not very. The choreographers are just like, he can stay in the back, that's fine. Just keep
there
him
you
back
go.
There.
Yeah, that's the old trick. But you almost have to master the big three to do that. And in fact, for professional theater, that's what I always told my students and other people that wanted to go into it. I said, you have to do two very well and be able to fake the third.
Oh yeah.
Fairly well.
I can. Oh yeah. One of the last ones I did was a Drowsy Chaperone, and I had to learn how to tap.
Oh my gosh, and that's a really tough thing to learn.
A couple of months, and I was like, well, I'm going to go as best I can. Luckily, I can act my way through this, I suppose.
Yeah, and sometimes if you're a comedic character in a musical, you can get away with not being right on.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So it's, I think about, like, from Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Forum, you can really get away with, like, your pseudolus not being a dancer at all.
Yeah.
And yet what he does is very choreographic at times. So.
Yeah.
Any musical roles you would like to play? I mean, even though you're not as fond of musicals?
I'm in that weird age range right now of where the ones that I want to play, it's a different thing where I'm too young to play them. Like Javert, of course, is one of the big ones. Hunchback coming up would be Frollo, but it's just I'm in that range where I'm too young at the moment, which is it's different from being too young for the roles and stuff like that. So
Well, time will take care of that.
Exactly,
so.
Exactly. That's why I'm not concerned, But yeah, those two for sure are like the big ones. But other than that, it's there's not too many musicals where I'm like, man, I really need to. But yeah.
Now, is your current production of art actually set in Paris, or?
Oh yes, it is still set.
1996,
in
I believe.
France. Yeah, it's still set in France because we make references of me going to the Pompidou. And we go to the Chez Emile. I spend francs on the thing, so it's still set in France, but just translated. I think it was by Christopher Hampton.
Excellent. And he did the translation. So
yes, and actually, I didn't even realize. I didn't realize before that I had done another one of Yasmin Riza's shows before. So that's one.
What was that?
God of Carnage. I had done it at Footlight, and when I had gotten the script, I realized, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's why this seems a little bit familiar to me, because it translates kind of almost to the same show. Almost.
Now, you like the working in these real intimate spaces, like 4th Street's fairly intimate, the Port Little Theater.
Especially, I know it can be jarring to like look out and you see a person's face, an audience member's face right
Everyone's
there.
Within spitting
distance.
Yes,
exactly. And unfortunately, sometimes I do enunciate pretty much so. But yeah, I really do love and enjoy the intimate small spaces. It adds something more to the show, I feel like, and it's a very engaging process, and I love it.
Now, is art a 2 or 3 act show?
It is all one act. We actually have no intermission.
So it's a continuous run show.
Yeah.
About how long does it run?
We've consistently been running about an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay, so that's a fairly comfortable sit.
Yeah,
so.
But just reading through, that was, I think, during our first read-through, our second read-through, we were trying to decide if there was a spot anywhere in the script where it would call for an intermission.
Right.
And like the only spot that would make sense is about 20 minutes in, and you don't want to do that.
No.
So, and then the rest of it would be breaking the momentum that the show builds. So, I think it's meant to not just have an intermission, just run straight through, and it's comfortable. So everyone enjoys it so far.
Do you have any aspirations for directing?
Oh no, not too much.
Really?
I enjoy acting. That's what I enjoy doing. I've assistant directed one show, and I've been asked to assistant direct a couple other shows. But it's just, for me, I know it's that weird feeling of like, if I'm sitting there and I'm helping with directing, and if it's a show that I really want to do, it'd be like, no, I want to be up there. I want to be that person right now. But yeah, I don't know if it takes a whole nother talent to be a director, and I don't know if I possess that too much. I have good eyes for some things, but like I give props to everyone who directs, because that's something I don't think I could ever be comfortable doing. They have a whole job of everything on their shoulders, so it's a huge responsibility.
I understand. I got pulled into directing, though I can perform, but I'm not as interested in doing it. I started out really as a lighting designer in theater, but many of the things you do in true lighting design is the analysis that you do is motivations, color, and stage pictures.
Yeah.
And so a director has to create stage pictures. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I feel I'm a pretty good communicator, and I have a good musical sense. Most of what I directed was musicals, so I have a pretty good sense of that. I mean, I can actually read in the music enough to cut scores and stuff with a good music director.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's a different environment.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone says, wouldn't you like to perform? And well, there's a couple roles I probably could be convinced to do it. I said, I'd love to once do Tevye.
Oh, yeah.
Fiddler on the Roof. I would love to do Zach in A Chorus Sign, which is mostly over a microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, so those are a couple of the roles that I always toyed with. By the way, you're listening to Art on the Air on WVLP and on Lakeshore Public Radio, and we hope you're enjoying. We're talking with Alexander Boner, or Alex as we like him. He's in the production of Art, which is at the 4th Street Theater in Chesterton, and they open on March 13th. And if you're listening to this live, that's tonight at 8 o'clock. And so he's talking to us a little bit about the production and what's going on. So with it, and like we talked about earlier, they have a special on this weekend, $10 for the seats. They're limiting the seats to, I think, about 30. Normally they can sit, I think, up to 60. So they're cutting the seating down in kind of trying to address the virus issue and everything like that. And as we talked about earlier when we were doing our rundown, there's a lot of venues having to deal with that, and even closing down in schools and such as that. But you can find out their information on the website. You just do it, or on Facebook. It's 4th Street Theater. And do a search, you can do that. And they also have a box office number, and the phone number's there. I'll give it to you. It's 219-926-7875. That's 219-926-7875 for reservations. I think it's your box office is cash and check only, right?
Yes, cash
Unless
and check.
I think you also use brown tickets, and then you can use your credit card.
Yeah, the brown paper tickets, you can use the card. I know I think they closed the site for this Saturday's performance, just because they're limiting the seats, and I think it already hit the limit of what they can sell on brown paper.
Very good.
Yeah.
So working with your co-actors, that sometimes is like, I won't say friction, but you go through a kind of if you haven't worked together before, you kind of like work that out. And there's like the character thing, and then there's the offstage thing. Usually there's a strong camaraderie offstage, but then when your characters are in opposition, describe some of that dynamic.
Yeah, well, for sure, I think the big added benefit was with Dean. I had last year, or I guess it'd be 2 years ago now, with 4th Street, we did Peter and the Starcatcher, which is kind of a reimagining, retelling of the origin of Peter Pan. And so he played Black Stash, which is essentially Captain Hook, and I played Smee. So we already had this huge friendship dynamic. And so when we got cast together in this, it was already just like two friends already, again, diving right at head first. It's a little hard to viciously attack each other. It's funny because in the last show is when he viciously would just attack me, and I would just go along with it. But now, in this time, it's kind of both of us attacking each other. So it's like Smee getting his voice, I guess, in this show. And then with Grant, and this is the first time I've gotten to work alongside Grant. And so it's this great dynamic that all three of us have. And it's definitely a show where if one person it doesn't work together, it's going to all fall apart. So definitely the casting was, you have to make sure everything is going to work together in this, and we work together beautifully. I couldn't think of two other people that I'd rather share the stage with on this show.
That's always a good thing when you have a good feeling with the people on stage, even though the story itself is a little you're in opposition.
Yeah.
Things. I heard one of the remarks. I think it was one of the things talking about that the comedy is very much sounds like Don Rickles going with some of the lines coming out.
It's this great wordplay of comedy. That's what it is. It's all the comedy comes. There's a couple of movement things that we do that lend to comedy as well, but it's mostly it's these. The
Are
words.
You talking about physical comedy?
Yeah, just a little bit of stuff, but it's the words and the language itself that lends itself to the comedy that comes forth from the show.
I know one of the other things they said, it's got kind of a Woody Allen Moliere feeling to it. So anyway, and have you been to the Northwest Indiana Excellence Theater Foundation functions?
This past year, the one that they did was the first time. Like I said, I just recently had actually started branching away.
Sure.
Not like branching away, but going away from like Footlight and doing some other shows and a couple other theaters, and so SME with Peter I was nominated for Best Featured Actor, so it was the first time I ever went to one of their galas and stuff. It was a very enjoyable time.
Yeah, I remember seeing the foundation of that group, and when I was at Theater at the Center, and when I worked there, we had actually hosted the events there, one of the very first ones, and actually a predecessor to that was Richard Sherman, who was a critic for the Times, and he actually started an award process and everything like that, and it was supposed to kind of carry on, and then it kind of fell down. There was a group that preceded that called NIDA, Northwest Indiana Theater Association. It was kind of the first pull together, but it didn't stick and everything. So this one came together, and so we hosted at the center several times when I was there as the production manager and theater administrator. So that's kind of how we got it launched off a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah.
But it's an excellent organization, and what it does is it highlights all the I think 14 producing groups in Northwest Indiana.
It was amazing to see there and then go there and then every show that was nominated and stuff like that, to see their little excerpts from their shows and like meeting people that I'd never met before, and like seeing what other theaters were doing, and like just the pure talent that's around in the area. It's astounding. Yeah,
well, Northwest Indiana is actually a very talent-rich area. I always tell people, I says, if you would transplant Northwest Indiana out of this area, we represent about 700,000 people. Well, that's about the size of Indianapolis Metro. We would have 3 of our own TV stations and everything like that, but we sit in the shadow of Chicago, and so we kind of seem like we're less than.
Exactly,
And not to knock Chicago arts, it's a great city, and there's great things going here, but we have an abundance of talent in Northwest Indiana.
It's amazing, the shows and just what can happen around in this area. Like just recently seeing like a Mary Poppins at Memorial, and the fly rigging they did. That's just an astounding thing of what can happen around in the area.
And it's always fun when you try and fly people. It's always a nerve-wracking thing.
Yep, I'm sure it was for them.
Well, if they hire there's a couple of companies that do this all the time. I don't know if they actually brought them in to do that, or it's a very hands-on process, rigging that up. Or if they did it in-house, which is a little scarier. I know, like when I did the production of Working, every time I did it. And I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but the opening there's this whole big chatter, and the lead character Mike, I always had him come. He's a iron worker. Mm-hmm. I have him come down on a quote steel beam. So just before in the blackout, we fly him up. And then he comes down, and everyone's chattering, and then they stop and, hey, somebody, do you want to hear? And we lower him in it. And I did that the 4 times I directed. I did that each time. So we actually put a person up there in black, flew him up right before the show, and then when that happens, brought him down. But it's always a little bit nerve-wracking.
For sure.
Because what goes up has got to come down.
Yeah, eventually.
Do you know a little bit about the history of 4th Street Theater? Or?
Not too much.
I know it was founded, in 1990 as the North Coast Cultural Association?
I think, that's what my little email
and it was at the St. Patrick's Church originally, and then I guess the church burned down or something in 98.
That's what it says. And then I guess NCA was gifted the small little building that's on 4th Street right now, and then they converted it into their little theater right now, which is it's a great small.
It's a cute little venue, and a lot of people talk about it in the area. How great they go to the shows there all the time, and they have a great following. And
I enjoy my time there. I'm glad to be back, of course.
So anything career-wise, would you be interested in expanding career into acting as a profession, or you just want to keep it avocational?
I've recently started to take bigger steps into that. I've with the help from my mom and stuff like that. I've redone my resume, look more professional as opposed to what it looked like before.
And do you need headshots?
That's the next thing I'm doing.
I know somebody who does headshots.
Oh yeah,
I've done headshots in PR. Well, as a lighting designer, you shoot all your own stuff, but then the side thing you do headshots. I have a studio in my house, but I do headshots and I do other more commercial stuff besides my fine art photography. So hey, we'll talk after the show.
Perfect.
And see what you hooked up on.
But
there's different, and there's interesting the whole headshot industry. It's in what style you use. Most of this area uses Chicago style, which is kind of like mid-chest to above.
Yeah, I've noticed.
New York style is very cropped.
Yeah.
And LA style is very much more full body. And then, of course, what you're using it for. If you're using it for legit theater, there's a certain style. And for many years, it was always black and white. And the reason is that people would then get their shot and then lithograph it. Now colors come into it, so you get color. But, you can have it both ways. So.
Yeah. So I'm recently I'm trying to start getting back into it, and I'm hoping eventually. So I've done that. The next step was the headshots thing, and then just start sending stuff out, And
here's the advice from someone who's been around for a while.
Perfect.
Is that a working actor goes to 30 auditions for every job they get. Now, sometimes you go straight from one job to another. And other times it doesn't work that way. But the trick is auditioning, and the one that they don't cast for, sometimes they'll say, you remember that guy we saw, da-da-da-da, and then you get called back because they saw something that didn't fit the current thing. But you have to go out and do it a lot. It becomes a career thing about going out and marketing yourself. And the other thing is that the rejection is not personal.
Oh, no.
And you have to look at your acting career as a separate thing of your career. So, okay, this is Alex the actor. Mm-hmm. So they're rejecting Alex the actor, not Alex the person.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something, especially even with community theater, that's one of the first things you have to kind of accept when you get your first rejection. You're like, oh man, am I really not that good? Should I not be doing this? What should I do? It's a first panic moment of, oh no, is this a good idea?
Well, any final thoughts? We're about ready to wrap it up here. So
no, just come out and enjoy the show. Like I said, like we've mentioned before, just keep up with the box office, or if you're on Facebook or anything like that, like the 4th Street, and they'll keep everybody updated of our plans moving forward. So far, we do plan to keep running the production. We're running this weekend for sure. But if anything changes, they'll notice and they'll be posted right away. But just come out and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful show of friends destroying one each other.
There you go. Opening March 13th, running through the 29th, 8 p.m., 3 p.m. on Sunday. You can call, find information. But it's Alex Bonner from the play Art, a 3-person play. You've been listening to Art on the Air. It's heard every Friday at 11 a.m., rebroadcast Monday at 5 p.m., and Sundays, 7 p.m. on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM. I'm Larry Brechner here, and not alongside my wonderful co-host, Ester. So get well soon, Ester. Want to have you back on here. Underwriters for Art on the Air are Walt Breitinger's Paragon Investments and the Indiana Arts Commission, National Endowments for the Arts. We also have Mary Levan and the Brower Museum. Hey, if you're interested in sending us or being a guest on our show, please email us at artontheairwvlp@gmail.com. That's artontheairwvlp@gmail.com. And next week we will have a surprise guest because we made a change in our schedule. So see you right here next week on Art on the Air.
Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. You're in the know with Esther and Larry. Art on the Air today. Stay in the know with Larry and Esther. Art on the Air our way. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world